and welcome to The Kitchen Table. My name is Robert Sarazin Blake. The name of the show is From the Kitchen Table. Here we are every Sunday coming at you live from the most northwest corner of the most northwest city of the most northwest state in the lower 48. Myself, along with my associate, David Pender Lofgren.
Happy to be here, Robert.
And what is it? It's January. We're just in the throes of January. It is very cold, we understand, in other parts of the United States. It's just northwest cold here. And we have a great guest coming in, I believe, from the Great Lakes region. David, who is our guest this week?
Our guest this week is Aaron Jonah Lewis from Detroit, I believe.
We're so excited to have Aaron Jonah Lewis with us. I've been checking out his music, and oh man, we were talking before the show, hoping to get him to the Jamboree. It doesn't look like it's going to happen this year, or maybe ever. But you know what? We're not saying never. There just seems to be complications with the scheduling right out the gate once we got talking about it. But once you hear him play, you'll know why I'm so excited to have him at the Jamboree. And of course, before we get into any music, we got to light some candles here. We started the show in the pandemic. So many lives lost, so many empty chairs at kitchen tables at Sunday dinners, and our heart goes out to everybody who's lost somebody. Lost a few myself. And we're going to light a candle for everybody who is suffering. You've lost someone close to you. Your world's been turned upside down, and it almost gets back right side up, and then it's upside down again. We light a candle for the suffering, and we light a candle for hope and gratitude. As strange and difficult as these years have been, there's things to be grateful for. And we have hope for better times to come when we can all gather in the same room and breathe the same air and feel some humanity. There's just a lack of humanity in our lives right now. But the silver lining for me is that we started this show. We got it going, and I'm making new friends along the way. I've not personally met Aaron Jonah Lewis before tonight, so most of the guests are people I know, but a wonderful exception this week to make a brand new friend. We're going to kick off this week here celebrating the great Lucinda Williams. Her birthday is coming up halfway between this Sunday and next Sunday. We're going to really get into the work of Lucinda next Sunday, but I thought I'd just kick off the show before the birthday happens. My grandmother Maxine would say to celebrate a birthday a week before and a week after. Or was it 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after? We'll look for that in the comments from Alabama Hill. From Lucinda Williams, from the record that changed everything for her and for all of us. Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. The name of the song is Metal Firecracker. Once we rode together in a metal firecracker. You told me I was your girl. You told me I was your biker. You told me I was your everything. Once I was in your blood and you were obsessed with me. You wanted to paint my picture. You wanted to undress me. You wanted to see me in your future. All I ask is don't tell anybody the secrets. Don't tell anybody the secrets I told you. All I ask is don't tell anybody the secrets. Don't tell anybody the secrets I told you. Once you held me so tight, thought I'd lose my mind. You said I rocked your world. You said it was for all time. You said I would always be a girl. We put on ZZ Top and turned it up real loud. You used to think you were strong. I used to think you were proud. I used to think nothing could go wrong. secrets I told you. All I ask is don't tell anybody the secrets. Don't tell anybody the secrets I told you. All I ask is don't tell anybody the secrets. Don't tell anybody the secrets I told you. Happy birthday, Lucinda Williams. And please, as always, everybody out there, please do write in the comments where you are listening from. This kitchen table goes far and wide, up and down and all around. We'd love to see how far the kitchen table is stretching, so please do put your location in the comments. And thank you to our neighbors, Terry and Jennifer. Actually, I don't know if Terry was involved, but I know that Jennifer brought us drinks this week because we were low on supply, so we want to have a toast to our neighbors who saved us to bring us so we could be communing here with you with an old-fashioned and a bit of ingenuity on the old-fashioned. No oranges in the house. It's a slice of lemon in there. So we might be looking for comments of what we would call an old-fashioned with lemon instead of orange. You know, when life gives you no oranges, try lemons.
You know, this might actually might be honoring the tradition of the old-fashioned. I learned a little bit about the old-fashioned this week, doing some research.
Oh yeah, good.
Some
Glad to hear
pre-show
that.
research.
Yeah, okay.
And it turns out that
That's why the supplies were low, I suppose. That was
research and development, lots of development. It turns out that the old-fashioned, so when cocktails were first coming around in the early 1800s, the go-to way to make a cocktail was just to take some sugar and bitters and muddle it and add some alcohol, rum or brandy or whiskey, what have you. Then, as people got a bit fancier, they started to develop adding absinthe or adding Cointreau or something, making them more complicated. And by the 1880s, the old folks would go to the bar and say, "Can you give me something like we used to have in the before the 1850s?"
Whoa.
So the old-fashioned was like, it's like going to a pot shop to try and find the stuff that you smoked in the 60s, you know? It's like that relationship to, like, I want it the way it used to be before they used to make them so strong.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got the old-fashioned.
And we weren't going to do this, but we're going to do it now because we're talking about the 1850s, which we got a request a couple weeks ago from Brother Ted. He requested we play One Meatball, known famously from Josh White, but some research and development of my own reveals that Longfellow was involved, along with some professor from Harvard, and the one and only James Francis Child got together, drank 1 million bottles of red wine, and wrote an Italian opera. And that's where the song One Meatball comes from. And that was right down around the 1850s. And I'm going to get back to this because I need to do some more research and development on One Meatball. But since we're talking about the way things used to be, I'm going to sing a little bit of the old One Meatball right after I let you know what the trivia question is. Some of you are thinking, hey, Robert, it's National Pie Day today. That's not 3.14. That's actually a baked pie. It's a National American Pie Day today. People make all kinds of different kinds of pies, sweet pies, savory pies. Why are you not playing Bye Bye Miss American Pie? And I'm not playing it, and it's not because I don't love the verses, just because I can't figure out how to sing the chorus by myself. Well, present company included, by ourselves. I mean, you have to be in a certain frame of mind, which requires maybe old fashions, new fashions, and a couple in between for me to do that. Now, that one, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying I don't have it ready for you tonight. But at one point along the line, somebody told me the levee was actually a bar that he's referencing in that. Most people don't know. So took the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Where was the bar called the Levee? That is the trivia question. And meanwhile, we're going to give you a few bars of One Meatball, written in part by the one and only James Francis Child, the great collector of child ballads that have nothing to do with children. 15 cents would do. One meatball. One meatball. He could afford but one meatball. He told the waiter near at hand the simple menu that he had planned. The guests were startled, one and all, to hear that waiter loudly call, one meatball, one meatball. This here gent wants one meatball. The little man felt ill at ease. He said, "Some bread, sir, if you please." The waiter hollered down the hall, "You get no bread with one meatball. One meatball. One meatball. You get no bread with one meatball." The little man felt very bad. $0.15 was all that he had, and in his dreams he hears that call. He gets no bread with one meatball, one meatball, and no spaghetti, one meatball. He gets no bread with one meatball. I don't know how these things happen exactly. That was not on the list, but it ended up on the list. There's mention of the 1850s and thinking about these Harvard poets and intellectuals hanging out in New England and getting slashed on red wine and drinking then, which was just a fashioned, not yet. It was not yet an old fashioned. It was just a fashion. Oh. Switching it around. We're going to do this one here. I think the rest of the country is covered in snow. David, are you following that?
Yes, I have heard from the East Coast that they're actually. Last I heard, my niece wanted to go sledding, but the snow had just vanished from the coast of Maine.
Snow just vanished. Okay, well, I saw a headline there that there is still more snow coming over quite a bit of the country, so I thought, play this old one of mine off a record called A Long Series of Memorable Nights Forgotten. Haven't played it in a while. The city is covered in snow. Where you are, I do not know. I'll wait, I know you know. Go where you wanna go. The city is covered in snow. I wanna kiss your mouth. Extra blankets on the bed. There's cold air in the is covered in snow, drinking vodka alone. Where you are, I do not know. Just know I cannot go. It's got nothing to do with a city covered in snow. Hopefully everybody's staying warm in those cold places covered in snow. And of course, right now we have reached the moment. It is time for the third song check-in. So happy to be here with you all, and we'd like to see what is going on out there in Common Land in Etherville. Comment Land, Etherville have converged. See if anybody has a response to the trivia question. See where people are tuning in from. David, what can you tell me from the great beyond?
Well, Robert, I can say that as we adjust to our new technical reality, for those of you just joining the show, we've changed a few things. There are many responses, but I think Kimberly Sabin, our fearless kitchen table irregular drink selector, is that the title?
Let's just call her the bartender.
The bartender.
The bartender.
The kitchen table bartender.
Yeah.
Is now. Apparently there's Bills game going on, and as a true Buffalonian, she is watching the Bills game while simultaneously listening to the show, watching the show on YouTube on her computer. Bills game on the big screen, YouTube on the computer, Facebook on the phone to comment in the comments. So we do have a 3-screen reality from Kimberly this week.
The 3-screen reality.
It does look like there's some names I'm not recognizing from earlier shows. We got Robin Jackalow from Longmount, Colorado.
Oh, Robin's on our team. Hey, Robin, good to see you again.
Hello,
yep.
Robin. Kate O'Leary says greetings from Detroit.
Okay, Kate.
Kate also says that all citrus is good in a drink. I had a hot toddy today. It's cold here in Michigan, and it really cleared my throat and cured my sore throat.
Okay, Kate, glad for the news.
And we got Joseph Simpson here from Detroit, Michigan, USA as well. Looks like the Lofgrens say hello from the most southeast town in the most northeast state in the contiguous United States. And Allie Lofgren, my wife, is messaging in the comments from the house saying, Allie here from the house, prepping to make meatballs for dinner. Robert, would you like one meatball to go after the show?
Yes, please, Allie, absolutely. No bread, please.
Bellingham says it's cold in Guelph, another 5 to 10 centimeters tomorrow.
Okay. And no trivia response.
I don't see any trivia response.
We're gonna get a little more time on that time, or maybe it's not much. Maybe it's not a pie crowd tonight.
Can you remind us what the question is, Robert?
Because it is National Pie Day, I'm thinking about that song "Bye Bye Miss American Pie," which has the chorus "Took the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry." I have heard reports that the levee is actually a bar that went dry, and that was part of the story of the song. And we're wondering if anybody can tell us where that bar was. Turn the lamp low, feeling a little lost. I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, listen to you sing. Put the kettle on, I sat down, I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, listen to you sing. Close my eyes, I close my eyes, listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, listen to you sing. My head on, my eyes wept, I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, listen to you sing. Outside my window, I saw stars, I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing. Opened the door, stepped into the night, I listen to you sing, I listen to you sing, listen to you sing. I'm going to do a song next here that I learned from a bandmate of our guest who's coming up. Jonah Lewis is our guest. So excited to hear him and get to know a bit more about Aaron's music. Very excited. About 25 years ago, Lindsay McCaw, who is at sometimes a bandmate of Aaron Jonah Lewis, was in a band that came to Bellingham, and we all played music into the night, and I learned this song from them, and I play it the odd time, and I've never heard anybody else play it, and I don't know anything about it, and maybe it's common, and maybe it's irregular, but I wanted to play it while I suspect Aaron's in the room, and maybe they'll know a little bit about it. Cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle, soon my arms will be around my baby's back, my baby's back. Cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodles, soon my arms will be around my baby's back, my baby's back. I made my mind up, when she was away. But now I'll wind up, missing her every day. Oh, cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle, I'm all through wearing a frown. My baby's back, my baby's back. Missed her when she was away. I long to kiss her, more and more every day. Oh, cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle, I'm all through wearing a frown. My baby's back, my baby's back. Cock-a-doodle, I'm off my noodle, soon my arms will be around. My baby's back, my baby's back. We're going to do one more, and then we do have the great Aaron Jonah Lewis coming to us all the way from, I believe, Detroit, but we're going to get to know a little bit more about that later on. We're going to give you one more blast. Anything I need to know from Comment Land?
I don't think so, Robert.
David, I've been missing you over here. Glad to hear a little bit of the rattle-tat-tat on the tom-tom-tom. Sometimes I get by a house and I don't even look. Sometimes I go by a house and I don't get shook. Sometimes I go by a house and don't look up the window to see if the light is on, to see if the light is on. Sometimes I go down your street, I don't look for your car. Sometimes I go down your street, I don't look for your bike. Sometimes I go down your street, I got other things on my mind. Wondering where you are, wondering where you are. And sometimes I pour a glass of red, and I don't think about you. In the evening after dinner, I don't think about you. Later when the stars are shining, the wind is shining too, put my head down on the pillow, think about you. Sometimes I get up and I feel pretty good. Sometimes I get up and it's understood. There's a lightness in my voice and there's a lightness in the air. The spikes on my shoes, the bricks on my feet, the yoke on my shoulder, harness to my ribs. Pull this cart of trash, full of this and that, dirty floors and photographs, phrases and fragrances, ocean breezes, mountain ranges, dinner times and night times, bread, bacon, and a broken oven, father's farm, sister's wedding, marquette, tourniquet, tambourine, marionette, calf, lammet, all of it, down to the core, heavy laden iron ore, molecules and protons, the neutrons and ions, the first kiss, the last rites. isn't even there. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us at the kitchen table. David Penderlofgren on my right. And where are we? So excited that we have for the very first time here. I think the first time in Bellingham it may be, but certainly the first time at our kitchen table. Please, everybody, give a kitchen table warm welcome to my new friend, Aaron Jonah Lewis. Aaron, can you hear me? All right. Aaron's coming into view with 3 shades of green. I'm loving it. I don't know if that's true on everybody's screen. Hey, we got Aaron. Are you there? Yes, my friend. Okay. Well, it depends on how many old fashions we have. We may not be here later, but we're here now. And that's a spiritual path. Glad to have you coming at us. And is it true you're coming in from Detroit? And is it true you're coming in from the Trumbleplex in Detroit? Okay, all right. Nobody told me that. I just was taking a wild stab. Is it true that the Trumbleplex still exists in Detroit? Okay. I had a couple incredible nights at the Trumbleplex. I believe there's a lot of group houses that have shows, but I think they actually had a proscenium stage in a theater built into the back of this house. If my memory is that a correct memory? Yeah. It's a beautiful old structure, and it's been at least 15 years since I've been there, so I'm glad to hear that the hope is alive, and collectively owned property is a wonderful thing, and glad to hear that dream is still going. Enough on that, and how is the vibe in Detroit right now? Okay.
They can't hear Aaron.
Oh, we can't, Aaron. We cannot hear you.
To
be clear, I can hear you.
The audience can't hear you. It's going to take me a second to figure it out.
And that's nothing that you can do. So David is getting that routed. So do you do any visual performances? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for bearing with us. We really kind of have our routine normally kind of all together, but we don't tonight. But we're going to get through it. As we were mentioning earlier, David had a long chat with his mainframe and motherboard earlier this week, and they're having a hard time. So, David, should I do song?
I think people might be able to hear Aaron now.
I can hear you, and I guess we're waiting for the viewing world to...
Audience, can you hear them, please?
How do you let us know in the comments?
Blink once.
Yeah. One of by land, two of by sea. We don't know. Aaron should say something more. That you don't mind people not hearing. Yeah. And the best thing Aaron can come up with is to join us here at the kitchen table to promote it, and we're glad you are here with us. And I've listened to that record a number of times. It's an incredible record. Please, everybody, get that record. Spend some time with it. I know you can't hear him. You're just looking at this figure over there with a figurine of music. And do we know anything, David, yet about the audio coming in?
Not yet. Sorry.
Okay, great. This is it brings us sort of this like silent.
Aaron, can you try to say something?
Hip, 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 hip. So you know what's the best thing about Switzerland?
What is it?
I don't know either, but the flag is a big plus.
Okay. Aaron asked a joke that I didn't get.
I think the audience can hear them now.
And I think the audience could hear.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Are they
Excellent.
groaning?
All right,
via
welcome
chat?
properly once again to the kitchen table. My new friend Aaron Jonah Lewis. And Aaron, I'm dying to know, is Lindsay McCall really your bandmate?
Yeah,
It's
we're doing our first tour together in 3 years, starting next week.
I knew Lindsay so long ago. It warms my heart when I saw that. I was like, no kidding. And I'm totally out of touch. We crossed paths back when the world was new, and it was just, I think, barely a new millennium. And do you know this tune that I learned from Lindsay called Cockerdoodle?
Cockadoodle, I'm off my noodle. I'm all through wearing a frown.
Yes.
We recorded that on Wax Cylinder.
No kid. I knew I was coming to the right place. What do you know about this song?
It takes a great effort for me to remember words to songs, let alone anything else about them.
Okay.
I just know it's a song that we did many times, and it was part of a group that I don't play with anymore.
Okay.
But I think Lindsay still does, and Lindsay and I have another group that we play. Actually, Lindsay and I made an album that we just got in the mail, and actually they're at her house, so I don't have them, but we just made an album. It's called No Spaghetti Arms, and I don't even know if it's going to be available online. You might only be able to get it at one of our shows, which we have coming up. And I should have posted the link somewhere, but it's on our website, cornpotato.com. Corn Potato String Band is the name of our band, and we're touring around Michigan, Lower Michigan, and parts of Ohio and Indiana for the next couple weeks.
Excellent.
So-
Everybody check that out. Maybe somebody out there in comment land can post in the comments links so it'd make it easy for everybody else. The
Yeah.
potato string band, is it? Corn potato string band.
Corn Potato String Band,
Potato
the
String
ears
Band.
and eyes of America.
I love it. Well, there's been plenty of chat from me here. I think everybody's ready to get a blast from yourself. So we will turn the screen over to Detroit Rock City, not coming from the Trumbleplex, but coming from Detroit indeed. And welcome, very warm welcome to Aaron Jonah Lewis to the kitchen table.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I always like to start off with this funny song because it has roots in Michigan. It's referring to the House of David, which was what we would probably these days call a cult, or if you want to be polite, call it a sect. And they still have their headquarters in Benton Harbor, Michigan, on the west side of the state. And this was an interesting group of people. People think of the 1960s as a time when people were kind of really experimenting with things and trying out new ways of living and whatnot. But this actually happened 120 years ago as well. There were all these different groups splintering off, like the Shakers and the Oneida community. And the House of David was one of these groups. And they practiced extreme abstinence. So they're not around anymore to tell their story. But one of the ways they would try to keep their numbers up, since they weren't producing their own numbers through biological means, they would go out and try to find converts by putting out fine bands on the street, brass bands and string bands. And so this is a song that refers to this. It was a national phenomenon. And it was written by a Tin Pan Alley team, and then years later was recorded by Fiddlin' Arthur Smith, who's one of my all-time favorite fiddle heroes. So it's one of those tunes that went through the process of being written by professional composers and then forgotten about and then rediscovered by people who were country folk, and it being treated like it's a folk song or something. So folk music comes from all kinds of places. Here it is, the House of David Blues. Gee, but ain't it grand, can't you hear that band play those House of David blues? All the folks in town are gathering round to see the funny things they do. One ham was selling for $1 a pound. I ate so many rabbits, made me hop all around. Gee, but ain't it grand, can't you hear that band play those House of David blues? Gee, but ain't it grand, can't you hear that band play those House of David blues? All the folks in town are gathering round to see the funny things they do. Well, a Dominic, a rooster, and a bow-legged hen, they may go together, but they ain't no kin. Gee, but ain't it grand, can't you hear that band play those House of David blues? Yeah, I love that tune, and I love Fiddlin' Arthur Smith, and I could spend probably 3 hours just playing all the Fiddlin' Arthur Smith tunes that I know. He's one of my top, most favorite, most influential. I don't know. I'm not going to go into it too much farther because there's all kinds of other stuff to share with you. What I'm going to get into right now is an instrumental piece that, we were talking about the old-fashioned earlier and how some people wanted it like it used to be. Well, there's people like that in music too. And then there's people who want it even older stuff, the hard stuff, right? That they don't even have it out at the bar. You have to know about it and ask for it. It's like in a cabinet, hidden behind closed doors. This music is from the same time as the old-fashioned was popular, the late 19th century. During that time period, the banjo was the most popular instrument. This kind of music that I'm going to play for you was the most popular kind of music in the English-speaking world, both in England and in America. And anytime I play the banjo, and I have time and I'm allowed to, I like to tell the story of the banjo as a little bit, briefly, as much as I can. But you all need to know the banjo is an instrument of the African diaspora. It was invented here in the U.S., but it's very similar to many instruments that can be found in Western Africa. And I don't mean the U.S., actually. It was first documented in the Caribbean. So one perspective I like to share is, because I've thought about this a lot, is the people who invented the banjo and played the banjo, they were enslaved people. They were taken from their homes against their will. And just think about for 1 second what it would be like if you were to step outside and just get abducted and just, taken away in someone's car or like on a spaceship. Who knows? You're taken to a totally foreign land where nothing is familiar. You've been separated from your family. People don't speak the same language as you. You're forced to work all the time. What do you do? What do you recreate from your home? What is it that you hold on to? Okay, that's just something to think about later on or currently, thought experiment. Probably for us, we would try to recreate the iPhone or something like that, right? For the enslaved people who are taken from Africa, the banjo had so much meaning, and it's portrayed and used in all kinds of different ways in our modern culture. But it's worth keeping in mind that the people who invented it and brought it to life here, for them it had a lot of meaning, and I don't know exactly what it was, but it was very important to them. I can only guess it's a way to bring people together, to celebrate and to grieve and to just move through life. Perhaps when you don't have a shared language, the language of music is there for you. So, with that said, I decided I'm going to play a very frivolous piece. The whole story of how we go from the banjo's origins in the Western Hemisphere to this music that I'm going to play, there's hundreds of years of history in between where the banjo was in the hands of working people. And at this stage, the late 19th century, this is where the banjo starts to get really fancy. It also marks the first time in history where the banjo is being used in popular culture outside of the context of a minstrel show. In other words, people are playing banjos on stages without putting on blackface makeup and doing derogatory performances to mock African Americans. So that's kind of cool. That's one of the things I like about it. So I thought I'm going to play a short piece for you that was written by Arthur Tilley, who I believe was an English composer, and it was recorded by Ollie Oakley, I think in 1911. And this is a schottische. For those of you who may feel like dancing around your living room, the schottische goes step, 2, 3, hop, step, 2, 3, hop, step, hop, step, hop, step, hop, step, hop, and repeat, preferably with a partner. This is actually the first classic banjo piece I ever learned. This style of classic banjo playing with nylon strings and bare fingers is called classic banjo. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but it's the first one I ever heard. And then years and years later, I put the pieces together, realized it's classic banjo music, etc. I learned it when I was on tour in England. So it's called Queen of the Burlesque. Man. Okay, I could go on and on about classic banjo too. It's been a real obsession for me for the past few years. And like I was showing earlier, this is my first album of banjo music. And it's all pieces by one composer named Joe Morley, who I call the Mozart of the banjo. And really, it's a lot of liner notes. So it's really like, by the liner notes, it comes with a CD. I'm proud of it. It's pretty cool. So I want to play a different banjo for you now. and I'm going to play a song that that my partner requested. This is an old country song. It's a murder ballad. I'm not sure who wrote it. I could probably find out if I used Google. But I'm going to sit with the mystery. This is a more modern song. I think Hank Snow was the first one to make it famous. Song about Miller's Cave. Way down in the state of Georgia, through the swamps and Everglades, there's a hole in Tiger Mountain. God help the man who gets lost in Miller's Cave. I had a girl in Waycross, Georgia, but she had unfaithful ways. It made me feel I was unwanted, like the bats and the bears in Miller's Cave. I caught her out one Sunday morning with a man they call Big Dave. Meanest man in Waycross, Georgia. I'd rather fight a mountain lion in Miller's Cave. I called her down, both her and Davy. Said, I'm gonna see you in your grave. They laughed at me until I shot 'em. Put their cheating skin and bones in Miller's Cave. You know she made me feel unwanted, but I showed her I was brave. Most wanted man in the state of Georgia. They'll never find me 'cause I'm lost in Miller's Cave. They'll never find me 'cause I'm lost in Miller's Cave.
Aaron Jonah Lewis at the kitchen table. So glad to have you here. Sounding good, good, good. Coming through the ones and the zeros, the cables and the screens from Detroit, Rock City, which we're going to rename Detroit Banjo City, all the way to the kitchen table, wherever it may be. Man, I'm just loving. I'm fascinated with the history of the banjo, and I was at a party once, and I started playing some music with somebody. He said, "Can you play a schottish?" And I said, I can try. And the try was all I could do. I mean, there's a hop in there, and there was a hop that I could not get into my fingers. At this point in the show, we're going to pass the MC duties over to my associate David Pender-Lofgren, and I have no idea what he's going to ask you, and I have no idea what you're going to say. We're glad to have Aaron Jonah Lewis at the kitchen table.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I don't know if we gave you a preview of this section, Aaron. So what happens now is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and we just get to chit chat, and I'll turn you back over to Robert.
Sounds good.
So I'm curious. You said that you played in England. Did you tour in England?
I've toured in England on average once a year for the past 10 years or so, with the exception of the past 2 years.
All right.
Since 2008 or so. Yeah.
All right. And so when you show up in England with a banjo, how do people react to that?
Well, it's kind of like here in that there's very few people who are that interested, but the ones who are interested are very interested. And in England, you don't have to travel as far to go from place to place. So Yeah, and also I think in England or the UK, actually in Europe in general, uh, there tends to be, in my experience, a little bit more open-mindedness where people will just say, "Oh, music, great, I'll check it out." Whereas, I mean, there's a lot of people like that in the US too. But in my experience, a lot of places are like, "Oh, well, I only want to hear 80s music," or, I want to hear a cover band play 80s music, or well, I only like jazz, so I'm only going to go to this jazz club, and I only like this one kind of jazz, so I'm going to skip most of their shows, but I'm only going to go see these people, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, get a lot of open-minded, people who are. I think there's also this interest in the UK, especially because they see us Americans and our American music as sort of like the music of their long lost cousins. Like what happened to you guys? Where did you what did you do over there? You're come back and show us? Okay, we want to see.
Yeah, interesting. Well, when you play there? Are you playing like pubs, or do you have like a? Is there some sort of anchor gig that you return to every year? What's the situation?
It's been different every time. There's one festival that I've gone back to many times, and I'll be going back to this year, called Fire in the Mountain. Not Fire on the Mountain, Fire in the Mountain, and it's in Wales, and it's a pretty small festival, and they have a lot of variety music. It's they'll get some old time music sometimes. They'll get world music, all kinds of cool, wacky stuff goes on there. And it's my friends. Like, I was friends with them before they started the festival. They said, "We're gonna start a festival." I said, "Okay, cool." And then they did it. Because like, how many people do you know who said they're gonna start a festival and then actually did it?
One.
Yes, there's one in the room. So, but yeah, no, I don't do the same gig every time. In fact, I've done surprisingly not the same gig you'd think, I would have thought by now, 10 years in or whatever, that I would pretty much do the same gigs every time, just show up and just do the circuit. But every time it's different. There's new places where there's interest. There's old places that are no longer operating, and just constantly rolling with the new world.
Wow. And so when you're learning, like if you learned that Schottish in England, are you hanging out with folks who play, like a Schottish to me is what, like a traditional Scottish country dance sort of thing? Is that true? No?
No, it's not Scottish at all.
I think it's like Switzerland.
It's a slow polka.
Okay.
And yeah, what's the country of I'm not sure. I really learned Schottisches in the U.S.
Right.
But the first time I did a solo tour in the UK, I had my friend come with me, my friend Ed Hicks, who great banjo player, great musician, great friend, and I'm really excited to see him. He and his partner just had a baby. They live in London, and yeah, he just showed it to me on the banjo, and I was like, "That's hilarious! I don't know what it is," and I don't think he knew what it was called or anything, or even that it was a Schottish. But
you took
also
you
to
took the
answer
time
your
to
question
learn
about
the steps.
The steps, I learned the steps from going to dances.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone out there who lives in proximity to any kind of country dancing, folk dancing, whether it be contra dance, square dance, or Irish set dancing, or whatever you can find, do it. Do it. I really didn't want to for years, and I finally did. And I was like, why did I put it off for so long? It's the best thing.
Cool.
I also organize square dances here in Detroit.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing some of your story with us. I'll turn you back over to Robert.
Well, I just want to hear some more music. We're just planning for you to do one more at this point, but I think we have plenty of time. So if you don't mind, would you give us a blast of two, and then we'll be back at you?
Absolutely.
Great.
So here's a gimmick I came up with during the pandemic. I made a bag full of tunes. I got all these little wood like tokens, and I wrote the names of tunes on about 300 of them. So this is something I'm going to do in my live shows, but I've also been doing videos. I have a YouTube series called Tunes from the Bag. So I'll do a tune from the bag for you. I have no idea what this is going to be. Okay, here it is. Fischer's Hornpipe. And you can see it. It's backwards there. So I'm going to play Fischer's Hornpipe. And this is a tune. This is one of those tunes that everyone plays. And I don't know where I learned it. It's one of the first ones I learned. Usually learn it in D, but then I've also heard it in G. And I also heard that the earliest written version of it was written in F. So maybe I'll play it in all those keys. I don't know. I'll just play a little blast of it, as we said. Fischer's Hornpipe. So that's Fischer's Hornpipe. I'm gonna sing a pretty song for you now. I just have to remember what the tuning is that I like to. I think it's this one. This is an old one. I don't know how old. It was collected by the Warner family in Virginia, but it's definitely older than recording technology. And it's called Your Bright Smile Haunts Me Still. It's been a year since last we met. We may never meet again. I have struggled to forget, but the struggle was in vain. For your voice lives on the breeze, your spirit comes at will. In the midnight on the seas, your bright smile haunts me still. In the midnight on the seas, your bright smile haunts me still. I have sailed a falling sky, and I've charted hazard's path. I have seen the storm arise, like the giant in his wrath. Every danger I have known that a reckless life can fill. Though your presence is now flown, your bright smile haunts me still. Though your presence is now flown, your bright smile haunts me still. At the first sweet dawn of light, as I gaze upon the deep, your form still greets my sight, while the stars their vigils keep. And as I close my aching eyes, sweet dreams my memory fill, and from sleep when I arise, your bright smile haunts me still. And from sleep when I arise, your bright smile haunts me still.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Loving it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Ed Hicks. It's so curious to me you have a friend named Ed Hicks. Is Ed, and Ed's a banjo player as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a dear brother of ours here, he's gone a couple years to the great beyond. Lucas Hicks. Did Lucas Hicks ever cross your path?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And Lucas did a little bit of it all. He played banjo, chromatic accordion, C chromatic accordion, and bones and percussion and saxophone, and he was a big part of Bellingham music, and we miss him a lot. But there's just not that many Hicks out there, and I was already thinking about Lucas Hicks, and then you mentioned Ed Hicks. So there can't be that many Hicks in the world, can there?
There's also Bobby Hicks, great
Well,
bluegrass fiddler.
And
No relation to Ed, or so Ed
Bill
says.
Hicks and the Hot Licks.
Right.
Is it
Dan-
Bill?
Dan Hicks. But Bill
Dan,
Hicks
thank
was
you.
the comedian.
Well, yeah, and what the world needs now is another Bill Hicks.
Yes.
Who is that?
I'll
That's
take another Dan Hicks, too.
Yeah. I'll take another Lucas Hicks, but man, I'm telling you, there was only one. Hey everybody, I haven't mentioned it before. Please do send a few digital dollars into the digital tip jar so we can send some digital tips with the ones and zeros all the way over there to Detroit, Banjo City. We want to make sure Aaron Jonah Lewis is appreciated for his contribution here at the table, and we know that you all are sending in some bread, so thank you very much for that. And the formal presentation is done. Now we are at the part of the show where we are sitting around the kitchen table. I don't know Aaron Jonah Lewis well enough to know, but in my experience after the gig, I end up staying at some wonderful person's house who's kind enough to put me up. I've heard there are performers who end up going to tall buildings with small rooms with doors that lock behind them, but I don't know too much about it. I always end up on a soggy sofa somewhere, but before I do, we sit around the kitchen table and have a few more jars of this, that, or perhaps the other thing, and a few more songs and stories, and that's where we are right now. And ever since Aaron Jonah Lewis played that song, did you say Hank Snow was the first person to play it?
I think so. I think he's
yeah.
the first to record it. Yeah.
The melody is so similar. Kate Wolf must have heard that and then wrote a tune that's been haunting my head ever since you played it there. But then you played that wonderful melody right before Right Now, and now that's all I can think of. And your bright star haunts me. I love that tune so much. So if I can think of the Kate Wolf song, again, if it circles back in the circle of melodies, I will do. But we're sitting around the kitchen table. Last week we had Kristen Andreasen sitting at the kitchen table with us. And I understand you have collaborated with Kristen on a record, and I know you have because I have the LP myself. But I'm encouraging everybody to get this Mozart of the Banjo recording. 100%. I'll feel so happy if next time I run into Aaron Jonah Lewis, I'm told that orders were made after the performance at the kitchen table. But let's do a song that I learned last week by the great Kristen Andreasen. It can get cold in Louisiana, colder than the northern snow. You can plug in the heat in the kitchen, but cold there finds the holes in the floor. It can get cold in Louisiana, rice fields drawn in brown and gray. But right here in winter, I'll show you a flower cornet cast in purplish pink. I won't fail you. It can get cold in Louisiana. After our party last weekend, when the band and the dancers had gone, when the rain and the flame and the mud and the boots together had conquered the lawn. Thought on how everything transforms. Fire to smoke, smoke to air, air to breathing. I thought on how everything's transforming me, but I'll change like the tree, slow and even. I won't fail you. I won't fail you. Passing the instrument, passing the jar back over to my new friend Aaron Jonah Lewis over there in Detroit, Banjo City.
Well, that was beautiful.
Thanks.
Geez, yeah. When I played Miller's Cave, I forgot to mention how the moral of the story is beware the the extreme fragility of the male ego.
Wouldn't have any idea what you're talking about.
So I don't know. I'm gonna play a much older song than that one. This song was the most popular song in the U.S. Back when Lewis and Clark were doing their little jaunt.
Wow.
Because we know this because they wrote about it in their journals that in many regions, especially of Appalachia, this was a mighty popular number.
Now
It's called
hold
Cumberland
on
Gap.
one Northwest minute, because Lewis and Clark came here, but they didn't go to Appalachia.
They didn't?
I mean, I'm not saying they never did, but I mean, not on the big trip.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to check my sources. I mean, I believe you. I don't believe myself.
Well, they left St. Louis, went up the Missouri River, and then they go over through Montana, Idaho, through the Bitterroots, rough going, and then
But how did they get to St. Louis?
Whoa.
They met there. They went by train, I guess. I mean, this voyage stuff. But you got a point. I mean, they did have to, because one of them is commissioned from the White House.
Yeah.
Okay, we're looking to Henry St. Clair Lewis for some specificity on this. He's in St. Louis. He can tell us more about this. You have a point there. You can't go from D.C. to St. Louis without going through Appalachia and figuring out what the most popular song at the time is.
Right. I mean, I don't know. It could have been.
You do know. You
some
do
other
know.
colors. I'm not good at projecting certainty. I think I'm gonna play some music. Let's see what happens.
You sounded great. We're so happy to have you. And I'm dying to know what the most popular song was at the time.
It was called Cumberland Gap, and it's still pretty popular
Yeah.
for, square dances or any kind of jam. And I've played it for many years. I first learned it in a bluegrass setting. And then, I first got into all this stuff through bluegrass, and then I found out that that bluegrass comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I got interested in that, which people kind of use this umbrella term old time,
Yeah.
which might have some problems, but that's just the term that people use to talk about sort of pre-bluegrass music from regions where people played fiddles and banjos and stuff like that. So it's also got some words. One of my big influences who is alive is named Thomas Bailey, and he's a great fiddler, guitar player, singer, and I've played a lot with him over the years. I made a record with him, and we're trying to find a way to play together again soon. And he's from Virginia, so I learned a lot from him, and I heard him singing some of these words, so I was like, what are these words? I didn't know there was words. I want to learn some of these words. I'm going to sing some of these words. But this isn't really a song as much as it is a fiddle tune with words. Lay down, boys, take a little nap. Lay down, boys, take a little nap. Lay down, boys, take a little nap. They're all raising trouble in Cumberland Gap. Me and my wife's pap, walked all the way to Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap's a hell of a place. Can't find water to wash your face. Hey there, pretty girl, you don't care. Leave my demijohn sitting right there. If it ain't here when I get back, I'm raising trouble in Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap's a hell of a place. Find water to wash your face. Cumberland Gap ain't my home. I'm gonna leave old Cumberland alone.
Yeah, Cumberland Gap. Cumberland Gap is Tennessee.
Yeah.
Is that the lyric? I almost like once I said it. Cumberland Gap's in Tennessee. Is that a lyric?
I bet it is. Cumberland Gap's in Tennessee.
Yeah. I got a sweetheart waiting for me.
Bring that demijohn back to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know much
Why not?
about the southwest region of the country. Have you toured much in the Southeast, American Southeast? Have you been down there a bunch?
Yeah, I lived in Virginia for the better part of 10 years.
Okay.
And we toured in every state down there. I mean, the early days, it was just like, I mean, looking back, I was like, why did we play there? Why did we go to that town? But
Yeah.
we wanted experience. We wanted to play
Yeah.
in front of people. I feel the same way now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm older now, so I'm less eager to sleep on floors and, or worse than floors, soggy
Yeah.
couches or basement,
Yeah.
wet cement or whatever. But like, this
Listen,
is all
don't
happened.
believe. I'm trying to let the people know out there that we have quite a grandiose lifestyle on the couch, man.
It's feast and famine. One night you're in a 5-star hotel, and the next night you're watching the cockroaches, like, climb on top of you while you're trying to sleep.
But
It happens like that.
the drive to do it is beyond anything that makes sense because it makes so much sense. It
Right.
makes I wanted to travel and play and sing and write and experience. And so no lack of guarantee from a venue was going to get in the way of that. Sounds like you felt the same way.
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of tours where I think we only did one where we didn't break even, but we did a lot where we just barely broke even.
I love that phrase too because it's like, well, what are you putting in the expense column? It's
Well, you know what? Who are we anyway? I mean, we're
Yeah,
poor
right.
people.
It's like,
What are we gonna spend money on?
Yeah.
Beer, cigarettes.
yeah,
Like,
if we had it, we'd just spend it. I mean, what's the difference of not having it?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love playing music and traveling around. And I once slept probably more than once, but once comes to mind in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, the Flying Monkey Arts Center. You ever play there?
No, but I'd like to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it was the Pine Hill Haints. You come across them?
I know that name. I've come across them somehow.
We could do this in front of the audience for another half hour and miss completely, be hilarious. But I think we'll move right along. All to say, I played the Flying Arts. And now this is old data. You're writing it down like I'm giving you a hot tip. Who knows
I was
what's
looking
going?
for stuff to do in Alabama because my dear close friend and bandmate, the third member of the Corn Potato String Band, is from Alabama now.
Okay. The Pine Hill Haints, they're the folks to get in touch with down there, and the Fine Monkey Arts Center, and I think somebody named Betty Sue allowed Louis Ledford and I to crash in the pickup truck outside her house one night. So I mean, it was it's not a career, it's a lifestyle for a certain point of my life, and try to that actually at that point the word career kind of felt icky to me.
Right. Yeah, and I got my start with a band. There were at the time when there were the least of us, there were I think 5 of us, but at times there were 8 of us.
Yeah.
And you can just imagine the show in, you name it, like random place, doesn't matter, and then there's like maybe 2 people who are general public come out to see us play because they just don't know that we're even there, and then there's a 1 or 2 bartenders and the sound guy, like, and at the end of the night we're like sound guy, bartender, can we crash on your floor? And they're like, how many of you are there?
You ever notice that the bartender sound tech sees that coming? Then they're like, I'm just gonna go grab it, and they're like, oh, you're looking.
Oh man, I remember one. I don't remember what town it was. I think it was like somewhere in Delaware or something, just a random small state. The person like really didn't want us to come over, and we were like, we're sorry, we don't have money to stay in a hotel.
We're coming over.
We don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Begrudging charity is still charity, and it's still considered good.
Absolutely.
Always on the line.
So maybe we should take it. I just got the word that our stumper is on the line. And I had a thought of what to do. I think Sarah can stay on the line. What do you think, David? Okay, Sarah's going to stay on the line, but the beauty of the kitchen table is you don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like the bag that you have over there. I dig your bag, man. Dig the bag. This song comes from the great songwriter, now Broadway musical writer, Anais Mitchell. But she's got a song on the subject that rotates around a couple legitimate fans and a sound tech and a bartender. And so I'm gonna do it, You were dead when they found you on the floor of your apartment. You were dead, and your drum set sat there shining. Shining like stage lights, shining like your eyes, shining like Orion in the night. You were small time back in Austin, but the drummers are all poor. You were rocking out this dive bar, there were bottles all on the floor, and a couple lonely people, the bartender and I remembered what it is to be alive. Hey, Orion's falling, catch him if you can. Hey, Orion's falling, amen, amen, amen. dreaming of the big time when he fell down on the floor. Could you see the velvet curtain and the silver microphone? Could you hear your own heart beating? Could you hear it beating slow? Could you hear your own heart playing rock and roll? Hey, Orion is falling, catch him if you can. Hey, Orion is falling, amen, amen, amen. Grand Parsons in a hotel, Buddy Holly all playing, and you in your apartment with your drum set shining like stage lights, shining like your eyes, shining like Orion in the night. Hey, Orion is falling, catch him if you can. Hey, Orion is falling, amen, amen, amen. Song from the great Anais Mitchell. A couple lonely people and the bartender and I remembered what it is to be alive. We'll get one more song, I'm hoping, from Aaron Jonah Lewis, and then we have a caller on the line, and it will be time to stump the band, but it's not time to stump us just yet. Just whatever is in the fingers of our friend in Detroit, Banjo City, is what we're going to hear.
Maybe I should play another banjo piece. Well, I'm going to play some fiddle. I don't think I have a song in mind. I'm going to play a tune I got from my friend Tom Bailey, who I was talking about, and this is a tune that comes from a fiddler named Snake Chapman. Some people call it Snake Chapman's tune, but Tom calls it Won't Go Home Till the Morning. Now I remember a song I was thinking about, but anyway.
We have time for it. Bring it on.
Okay, well, I never tried it in this key before, and I also don't know if I remember the words, but
Perfect.
We'll see. It's because I did mention Tom Bailey twice. I'm going to mention Arthur Smith twice, so it's a tune I learned from him. Adieu, false heart, now we must part. May the joys of the world go with you. I've loved you long with a faithful heart, but I never anymore can I believe you. There was a time I'd have married you and been your constant lover. Now I gladly give you up for one whose heart's more truer. My mind is like the constant sun. From the east to the west it ranges. Yours is like unto the moon. It's every month it changes. When I lay down to take my rest, no scornful morn to wake me. I'll go straightways unto my grave, just as fast as time can take me.
Woo! Beautiful tune. Beautiful, beautiful song. I've heard it before, but not quite like that. Really enjoyed it.
I think he wrote it. I think that
Okay.
may be the original version.
That's where it got started.
Yeah.
I've heard it kind of up tempo, but that.
Yeah, he
that
wrote
kind
a
of-
lot of songs that are considered, authorless traditionals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arthur Smith.
Arthur
Heck of a
Smith.
musician.
What does? Oh yes. I speaking of. Are we Smiths? Are we Smiths? Yes. Harry Smith. Not that. No. Henry Smith. The American Anthology of Smoke is. I've had an old fashioned. The American Anthology of Folk is Harry Smith, but Henry S. Smith in 1893. I was looking this up. Wrote a Christmas number that we're all familiar with because the title is "The Cat Came Back," which is shocking to me that was a Christmas number, but that's another Smith songwriter, late 1800s, wrote "The Cat Came Back." Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, speaking of things I don't know, let's have a caller. We have a caller coming in, and this is a very special caller to me because Professor Weir was my political science professor when I had a very brief time in higher education. And I'm a person who, if anyone ever were to ask, I could mark on a application that I went to some college. I went to some college. Sarah Weir, are you on the line?
I am.
Oh, we're
Robert.
so happy to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I got my violin out.
You did?
I did, but I am way too. It's. I'm so stuck on classical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So are you actually, instead of giving us requests, are you asking for us to give you a request and we can request some Vivaldi from you
No,
or something like that?
I'm asking you.
Okay, we got
I'm
that.
asking
We
you.
got that cleared up. And are you playing along with the fiddle music coming at us from Detroit?
No, but it did get me to get the violin out of the closet.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for checking on the Facebook that event that you were interested in coming and responding to me an hour before showtime when I reached out to you, said, would you be willing to stump us today?
Of course.
And so happy to have you in the audience. Hopefully this summer we can have you in a live audience, open air. And what do you have for my new friend, Aaron Jonah Lewis, or myself? And here's the way, would you give us all three at the top? And then we do our best.
Okay, my friend Sue in Lansing would like to hear something from Dolly Parton.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Let's have the other request
And,
while we think on that.
Here's a weird one, maybe, but Meatloaf.
Cool. That's a weird one and also very well known. But a weird name, which, feels weird. You gotta give it up to somebody who went through life with that as their handle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have a song, and I don't really know the title of it, but I really love it.
Cool.
And
That's a very open-ended request.
How does
Yes,
it go?
it's very open-ended. Across the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Allegheny. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. Okay. Across the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Allegheny. So we got Dolly Parton, we got Meatloaf, and we have a song. We can't quite think of the title, but the predominant lyric is Across the Blue Ridge Mountains. And
Yes, but you could do.
yes.
To the Allegheny.
Across the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Allegheny. The Allegheny's a river, and it runs through Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Runs through Pennsylvania. So if you were going across the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Allegheny, you would be traveling east.
That's right.
Okay, so Matt, maybe I'm going to guess this is a song of homeward return. It's just kind of
Yes,
piecing
or
things
getting
together.
away from home, maybe.
Getting away from home. Okay, getting away from home. My associate in Detroit and myself are going to do our best with these wonderful requests. And
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you very much for helping me when I was receiving some college. And I was telling David earlier on that, I took a basic political science class that you led. We learned, how a bill becomes a law. But at the time, could we have imagined that the only way a bill could become a law is with Joe Manchin's support?
Never.
No, we did
Never.
not see him as a major player. No. And
No.
Joe is loving the limelight right now, even though he is standing in the way of democracy.
If we could have seen the future, we might have behaved differently. I don't know.
No, that's true of so many things. Sarah, thank you so much for coming in. If we could have
Thank
seen the future, we might have behaved a little wiser. If we could have seen the future, we might have not worn such an unsightly visor in that photo that's on your wall. Okay, we have Dolly Parton, we have Across the Blue Ridge Mountains. And are you getting anything? Are you getting a vibe off any of those requests?
They're all things I'm excited to hear.
Yeah.
I feel a pang of guilt about the going across the Blue Ridge Mountains thing because I feel like I probably should know that just because it seems like it might be a bluegrass song or something. But honestly, I've never been like a song person much.
Okay.
Like I kind of force myself to for the sake of putting on a good show.
Right.
But I've even all the years of just going to bluegrass jams and stuff, I never even paid attention to the names of the songs or who sang them or the lyrics, I'm just like, oh, it's in this key, and I can take a break here. Oh, and
Yeah.
listen to what the banjo players do. You know, I just that's where my mind is at. So, you know, when you say Dolly Parton, I think about the Cocaine and Rhinestones podcast episode about her, which was awesome. If anyone out there doesn't know about that podcast, Cocaine and Rhinestones, is by now there's tons of amazing episodes about country music.
I second that
especially
emotion.
early country.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, Meatloaf is like another thing that I don't know anything about Meatloaf. Just that my partner and her dad really like Meatloaf, so I think they know a lot of songs.
Okay.
But I don't know any other than that one that was on the radio when I was a kid.
Well, Meatloaf did a workup of Springsteen. He did a version of "Blinded by the Light." Is that
Oh,
right?
okay.
Or is that Manfred Mann? Okay, that's
I was
Manfred Mann.
thinking of,
So that's as close as I'm getting to Meatloaf. I'm afraid Meatloaf, I'm dead in the water. Dolly Parton, I'm sure I could do something if it
Anything
hit
for
me,
love.
but I won't do that.
That's what I think of.
I
and
love
and
that
Rocky Horror Picture
song.
Show.
I have no idea what it is Meatloaf won't do. I've always wondered. If anybody,
I feel like he kind of he was doing like that with that song. He was kind of doing like what Celine Dion did around the same time, maybe a few years later on with that big song that she did.
yeah, that one.
It's just very dramatic and it like takes you on a journey.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see some answers in the comments about what Meatloaf will not do for love. Meatloaf, I've got a note here from David. This is Meatloaf is Dad of the Week.
Died.
Meatloaf died this week. Well, let's take our hats off to Meatloaf. Anyone who lives a life of song has my respect. And I cannot sing any Meatloaf. I think I could sing some Dolly Parton if the right one hit me, but nothing's coming to me.
I could ask my partner if she wants to come down here and sing some Meatloaf.
I love it. We're up for that. And while that happens, I'm going to have to sing something unrelated to the... We have been stumped, my friends. 100% stumped. But not yet, because we're reaching out. And while we were being stumped...
Calling for help.
We're calling for help. I'm going to do a Lucinda Williams song because Lucinda Williams has a birthday coming up. And we want to send a happy birthday to Lucinda Williams. We'll do a few more next week. For those of you that have been at Boundary Bay Happy Hour at 5 o'clock, you're aware that my Lucinda Williams repertoire exists. But I wouldn't do this one at happy hour too often because it's a ballad, and I get away with more ballads than I should. But try to keep some sort. What's an average tempo, BPM sort of thing, David? You know, like what's
120.
120. I try to keep enough 120 happening that. You sing enough ballads at a happy hour, people will just want to go home. They're like, well, this isn't very fun. I came here for a nice time, I'm over here doing "And I Will Always Love You" and stuff, other Dolly Parton songs. Let's see. So, go find a jukebox and see what a quarter will do. I don't want to talk, I just want to fade back to blue. Feeds me when I'm hungry and quenches my thirst. Loves me when I'm lonely and thinks of me first. The color of night when the red sun fades from the sky. Raven, feathers shiny and black, a touch of blue glistening down your back. about how we've come to depend on one another so well. So go to confession, whatever gets you through. You can count your blessings, I just count on blue. Blue is a color all night when the red sun fades from the sky. Raven, feathers shiny and black, touch your blue glistening down your back. Well, we are stumped altogether thus far.
Well,
We're stumped,
there
and now
is
we've pulled
someone
in.
here in the room who can sing Meatloaf and Dolly Parton. Do you know a song that goes "Going Across the Blue Ridge to the Allegheny"?
Oh, not well enough to sing it.
No.
Well, please
Okay.
introduce our new guest here at the kitchen table. That's the
Yes.
way the kitchen table works. I love it.
Please,
Literally.
everybody meet Grace Van Toff.
Grace.
Are you gonna have this kid with me?
There's only one chair. Do you want to sit in my lap?
Yeah. The dog was in your lap. Hi. Hi,
Grace,
everybody.
we were loving having you on the show, Grace. How are you tonight?
I'm all right. I was upstairs chilling,
Yeah.
and my spouse, Aaron, pulled me out of bed.
Okay.
Can you sing something?
Wow. It is not the first time I've been at a kitchen table playing a few songs
sit on my
and
lap, Aaron?
somebody begrudgingly got out of bed and came down to the kitchen table and made the whole experience all the better for it. But it's my
Yeah.
first time meeting you, Grace, and I understand you're familiar with Meatloaf enough to give us a blast of Meatloaf.
I don't know about that. The problem with Meatloaf songs is there's no song that's like under 5 minutes long.
Hey, this is the internet. We aren't on prime time here. You know, you can let your freak flag fly. Or sing Dolly Parton if you feel like that's more appropriate for the setting. But would you please introduce us to what my darling daughter, who is 1 year old, would call a Dotton?
That?
This is
Oh,
Lefty
yeah.
Frizzell.
Yes.
Frizzell the dog.
Lefty Frizzell the
my little
dog.
guy.
Okay.
He's 15 years old.
Wow.
Well, he'll be 15 next month.
Grace, I appreciate that kind of clarity, and I'm hoping you're going to bring that. So what do you think, Dolly Parton or Meatloaf? I mean, Meatloaf, rest in peace.
Yeah.
How did you get exposed to the music of Meatloaf?
I mean, I can talk about Meatloaf up and down the block. It's just Meatloaf's a really hard artist to cover because
Sure.
it's basically rock opera, right?
Could you give us a minute, not the whole block up and down, but a minute of Meatloaf? Just talk, Meatloaf talk, straight talk.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I grew up on the west side of the state in Michigan. I don't know where you guys are at, but I grew
I
up
played
in
a
Michigan.
gig on the west side of the state once.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
In Holland, right there.
Andrew
and,
Bemis was running the gig.
Oh, the Foundry in South Haven.
There we are, South Haven.
Andrew's awesome. We're still buddies. He does house concerts. He's in, what's it called now?
I've played it in Binghamton.
Would you like to?
Binghamton.
I
yeah,
knew
not
we'd find
Bellingham,
common
Binghamton.
ground, and I'm not shocked that
like
it's
to sing?
Andrew, but it did take a while to get there. I love it. I love it. So you grew up. I as one does. I made this about me right when I asked you about you. So I'm going to try to
Well,
hold myself back.
I asked you about you, so I did
Oh.
kind of ask you to make.
Well, that's nice of
make
you.
it about you.
You're gracious, Grace.
No, I grew up. My dad was not a musician, and he'll be the first to admit that, but always had the best taste in music, I thought. And as a kid, anytime we had a long car ride, we would listen to Meatloaf, especially if it was just me and him. So when Meatloaf passed away on the 20th, My dad was the first guy that I texted, and we listened to Bad Out of Hell and Bad Out of Hell 2. They never left my dad's truck. The CDs, he had them on tape too for a while, but I don't know where the tapes went. And it was more than one tape for each one.
So how did he end up liking Meatloaf?
I don't know. He really likes. My dad really likes peripheral classical music. Like he really likes switched on Bach, and he really liked like rock opera, like Meatloaf. Opera you
Can't fault anyone for loving what they love. So that's pretty cool. It's not only a story of appreciation for Meatloaf, but it's appreciation for the old man. And I love a story about a father-daughter music appreciation. So thank you. And maybe it's Michigan. Meatloaf might be from Michigan. A lot of people are, you know. And
Isn't he from Canada?
Yeah, I think it's.
Well, Canada's very near Michigan. You know, it's very, it's some water.
You're
in
pretty
between.
close to Canada
Yeah.
too, so don't go.
Well, that's
pointing-
true. That's true.
pointing
But
fingers
I'm
here.
sure Meatloaf is not from British Columbia. I just have a vibe. He would be
But here
called
in Detroit,
filleted
we get to
salmon or
say,
something,
You know, Detroit. It's just north of Canada,
which is true.
Yeah, that Journey song, "Born and Raised in South Detroit."
which is Canada.
It's Canada.
Okay, we have digressed, and I take full responsibility. Grace, would you sing a couple bars of Dolly Parton?
Oh my goodness. You all have put me so much on the spot. Is there one that we can sing together that we know? That's
I don't
maybe
know
not
any.
Meatloaf or Dolly Parton.
Well,
Tennessee Mountain
Wabash
Home.
Blues or
Was-
something.
request is for Dolly Parton and for Meatloaf.
Yeah, I don't know. I
We
don't
can
really
we can
know.
put the request behind. Do you two have a duet you would sing for us?
Did you already do Miller's Cave?
Yeah.
Did you do Wabash Blues?
No.
Oh, we'd love to hear a little bit of the old Wabash Blues to round out our evening.
What are the words? Or
Yeah, we'll need the words. This is
You
amazing.
came down here to sing Dolly Parton and Meatloaf. That was the assignment.
Now, I love that we got kind of mixed signals here, because boldly we were told earlier, girlfriend's coming downstairs to sing Dolly Parton. And then when I asked Grace for the Dolly Parton, there's a look of, why are you asking me to sing Dolly Parton? And I like Grace for that. And she got out of bed to be on the show. Grace, anything at all you would like to share with the world is what we'd like to hear.
Okay. Do you want to sing a country song with me?
I want you to sing whatever you want, and if I can help, I will.
Okay. Let's do the Man Like Me in G. You can play some fiddle and I'll play this.
The Man in Me.
Okay. Is that a song? I know. I don't need to know it.
The man in me will hide sometimes to keep from being seen.
Oh yes, no. This is a great song. That's a great song too. This is
Yeah.
a different song.
Okay.
Great song.
Well, I was just kind of killing time since we call this sort of dead air in the biz.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, Grace was sleeping. She was 2 hours in to REM and not the band, the
Having
experience.
a real
and then,
weird dream. This might be a
Yeah.
1, 2. I walk the streets and wring my hands, trying hard to understand, but I just can't make myself believe that it's for good she's gone. Why do I go through this pain day and night? It's all the same. Heaven help a man like me who walks alone to the floor. A man like me can't sit and cry, walk the streets and wonder why love like ours could go so wrong. I haven't seen her in so long. The honky tonks have no appeal. They don't help the way I feel. What on earth can ease a heart like mine that feels it can't go on? They
That is my new friend Grace coming at you all the way from Detroit Rock City, not from the Trumbullplex, but just down the way. And of course, Aaron Jonah Lewis has been our guest here for this wonderful, wonderful evening of music. Thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us here at the kitchen table. It's time for us to
Thanks
wrap
for having
this.
me.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, please put a few dollars in the digital tip jar so we can send that digital money all the way to Detroit. And please do, in addition, buy this wonderful, wonderful record from our new friend, Aaron Jonah Lewis. He's not the Mozart of the banjo, although you're welcome to say so if you like. He is playing the music of the banjo player by the name of...
Joe Morley.
who was known as the Mozart of the banjo.
I called him that. No one else called him that. but
Okay, well, we're getting the
there's a lot
facts
of reasons
straight
why I
right
called
here at the end of the show. There's lots of reasons why you call him that.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to get into it because it's
Yeah.
the end of the show. But buy the liner notes. It comes with a CD.
I appreciate that because these days you stream the music and it doesn't even tell you who played bass in the band. I mean, you get nothing. You get a cover and you get a track title, but who's on bass? No one tells you who's on bass, and I like to know who's on bass. It's nice to know who's on bass. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in this week, and it's been a blast. Aaron, stay on the line after we wrap this so we can chat a little bit more. And a special shout out to Jennifer and Terry. We did not have any supplies for the old fashions, what were previously in the 1850s called fashions. We did not have supplies, and they're our neighbors. They brought us the fashions. And we're going to bring you this song here from our buddy Hank Waddell there in Cork City. Plays every Monday night at Charlie's Bar on the Keys. Well, it's great to see you, 'cause we thought you were dead. Come back to life. Did you get out of your bed? It's great to see you. Was that your ghost? We thought you were gone. Burnt toast, it's great to see you. I whisper nothing, sing softly on your ear. Try not to cut short the moment that's here. Shadowed might be, feelings clear. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. It's great to see you. Are you gonna stay? Been here for the long night. Are you leaving at the break of day? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's true. It's great to see you. It's great to be near you. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. Thank you, Aaron Jonah Lewis. Thank you to Grace. Thank you for the dog, Lefty Frizzell. Thanks to David Pender Lofgren, who's put this all together with a revised mainframe and a refurbished motherboard and a Boweron made by a German. That's my man on the right. So happy to be here. Next week we have the great singer, also from Michigan. We're in a Michigan state of mind. We have Anna Ash is singing with us next week at the kitchen table. But I gotta let you know, she's moved to L.A. But you know, you can move to L.A., but you'll always be from under the bridge, if you're under the bridge in the northern lower, as Anna Ash is. as they are at the Harvest Fest, which someday I want to play the Harvest Fest, and I'm hoping that Aaron Jonah Lewis plays the Harvest Fest that same year. I'm guessing he's played from time. Oh, and I got to say my apologies. I was informed that they/them pronouns are the way to go, and to anybody who wants that, I aspire to do that, and I make mistakes, and humble apologies. And thank you to Aaron Jonah Lewis for being with us at this show. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. Thank you, everybody.
I unmuted myself now. Yes, I can hear you.